they are dictating the flow of the battle. So they definitely need to pick a comp that is either more aggressive or is able to outpoke SK, so SK can't dictate the matches.
Well, you want aggressive? How about a Grumpjaw? Does that do aggressive enough for you?
I like the Grumpjaw.
Grumpjaw is, well, again, one of the most aggressive junglers at the moment. It can win out early games just single-handedly with the level of damage. Assuming it does go weapon, that's where we want to see this Grumpjaw build into. But now it's up to the side of SK to take some of these counters. You know, yeah, they're going to grab the Arden because they want to prioritize their captain. They feel, again, Europe in general is very big on prioritizing this Arden, but they're going to need Kestrel, Scarf, or Rhyme. One of those three. If they don't have one of those three, I don't think SK wins this game.
They're probably going to ban Lara here because they don't want to give a Lara Grumpjaw composition over to G2. So if anything, they may ban actually Samuel or Backfeather, not give it to Dark Potato here, but I think Lara ban would make the most sense. Instead, they're going to go ahead and ban the Baptiste. So that leaves Lara open for G2, and G2 is going to go ahead and ban the Samuel, which is smart because Tyrus played so well in the Samuel game 1. So this is a very smart ban coming out from G2 here.
Yeah, and allowing that Kestrel through as well, they kind of want Tyrus to play that Kestrel if they can, because it didn't really work out for SK last game, despite, you know, Tyrus having this reputation of crystal junglers. Kestrel just didn't seem to be his jam.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different play style from a lot of the other crystal junglers that he is known for. And so they're going to go ahead and grab an Idris. Idris against the Grumpjaw.
Yeah, we'll see. He might be playing CP Idris, so maybe he think he can kite the Grumpjaw. But if Grumpjaw lands his Hangry or his A, then Idris is going to be in a lot of trouble. So now they have Lara open, they have Adagio open. They can do a lot of different picks. They have Catherine open, which counters Idris pretty hard. So they can actually pick Catherine and run like a CP laner for Hundor here and run a weapon Grumpjaw. So let's see what G2 is going to decide. But if they do that and they get Catherine, I'm going to give the game over to G2, honestly, because Keanu's Catherine is pretty amazing. So I'm going to go with Lance actually here, which is not a bad pick. So hopefully they're going to do the weapon Grumpjaw and a CP laner.
Yeah, this is the thing. They already picked Lance once this series, but when weapon power lands in the jungle, and we were expecting it to go into the hands of Keanu, and we know that Keanu has a great lance, so maybe that is going to be the case on this one. Alongside the Grumpjaw.
This is great.
This is a really, really strong draft from G2. There's a lot of lockdown between Lance and Grumpjaw, and even Adagio has a little bit himself, but being able to just power up the Grumpjaw as a weapon Grumpjaw, it's going to be absolutely devastating when it gets onto a target from SK.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of damage coming out from this G2 composition, and obviously the lockdown coming out from the Lance. Now, what do you go with if you're SK right here? Apparently the answer is going to be Scarf. So Scarf in the jungle, as well as Idris in that lane, which leads you to believe that the Idris is actually going to be weapon power rather than CP.
Yep. So as long as G2 wins the early game and snowballs it, does not let this Scarf get late game, they can win this game.
Yeah,
but if they play passive like they did in game 1 and not aggressive like they did in game 2, they could give this game over to SK in a late game.
Yeah, Scarf is one of the picks that can beat Grumpjaw, but again, it's only if you let it get late game. Early on, this Grumpjaw should be able to absolutely destroy this Scarf, especially Grumpjaw Lance. Like, Scarf should pretty much not be allowed any farm in his jungle throughout at least the first 5 minutes of this game. It should be completely controlled by the side of SK.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see whether like G2 can actually play this early game composition. It's kind of weird that we have G2 on this side with the Grumpjaw and everything playing very aggressive in the early, and SK going to be looking towards the late game. It's kind of the tables have turned on this one. How are we feeling about the comps, 3J?
It's tough because I love Keanu's Lance and I love Raph's Arden, but I'm gonna give this to G2 because I love the Adagio Grump combo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so difficult to pick because again, it's just all depends on how they play in the early game. And so if that early game, they should be able to have that dominance in the early game, and because of that, I'm going to have to go with G2 as well.
Okay, so we have 2 for G2 on this one, and this is very much, I feel like this is one of the closest ones to call that we've had so far here in the European VGA.
Oh, yeah.
Previous weeks we've had Mouse in the finals, and they've looked Indomitable. This time they got knocked off their pedestal, and now we have an incredibly close matchup on our hands. G2 up against SK Gaming. We want to know who you guys are going to be voting for as well going on into this one. Hashtag Vainglory8 is how you can let us know who you're going to be supporting. Do you want G2 to take the crown this week, or do you think SK Gaming have done what it takes to overthrow them coming on through into this game? Now, before we do just jump into this, apparently the game is in fact ready, so let's head it over to our casters and get our grand final underway.
Yeah, we're here, we're ready. Thank you very much, Munchables. This is the last game, G2 versus SK, and this time you guys are on the side of G2. All right, I'm keeping track, don't you worry. You've been flipping sides like anybody's business, but we're here to be very impartial, AJ. We're ready to go. SK with the CP jungler once more, and Tyra's picking up the scuff.
You know, I'm here to be impartial, but I have to admit I'm partial to the composition coming out of G2. I really like the fact that they picked up the Grumpjaw for Dark Potato. I think that's going to be quite a strong lock-in for him. Also, Hundor and Adagio, this is a pick that he used to play back when Adagio was admittedly a little bit stronger, but I think he knows how to execute on it, and Grumpjaw is a hero that synergizes nicely. You know, you're constantly up in their grill, makes landing the splash damage from the fire very easy. Hundor, he's got the mechanics to follow up and do a lot of work. Kvalifar has been making Idris work very well for him so far, and Tyrus has historically had good performances on mages from the jungle, so I imagine his Scarf, which I've seen a couple of times if I recall, will be fairly effective too. Now, the bigger question mark for me, and Sweetie mentioned he likes both of these, so I'm just gonna, I'm with him, is actually the rumors. Oh, Kvalifar.
Oh, Kvalifar in a lot of trouble. This might just be first blood. It is. They're just going to run him down. That one impale from Keanu is just solidified G2 in their lane at least. Hundor picking up first blood.
So, I mean, that actually leads me nicely to the point I was going to make previously, which is that, you know, I was curious about whether or not the captains were going to be super impactful here. Keanu, this is a Lance pick. Lance really can be very impactful in the early game, depending on if you land your impales. You saw what happens when he does, right there. I mean, that was very, very strong stuff. Putting Hundor up to an advantage early is always going to be a great spot for you. And Dark Potato didn't get punished for it. Yes, Elder Treant did get picked up by SK, but that was not at the detriment of Dark Potato's jungle. Like, he didn't lose anything, really. It was just kind of like an additional thing that SK picked up. But picking up Elder Treant doesn't do very much for Kvalifar, whereas getting the kill for Hundor does a lot for him. So I think that this is going to be a bigger difference in the early game than you might expect, especially if G2 finds more. You know, they want to keep going on to Kvalifar here with more impales out of Keanu.
They're going to want to keep going time and time again. Tyra's actually might be in a little bit of trouble. In fact, Raph is. Raph's actually the target of aggression for G2. He's on the wrong side of things. Hundor's going to meet them. They're going to pick up another kill, and that will be one on the board for Dark Potato. Nice route, actually.
Nice stun.
Nice Githian wall as well to follow up. Tyra's in a lot of trouble. Hangry from Dark Potato might just sentence him to his own death, but Tyrus is going to run away. Same with Kvalifar. Can they find the executing blow? They cannot, but they find the route. And that'll be all said and done. Raph is just going to come back in, and now Keanu actually just getting chunked out. Tyrus and SK looking like they want to even this one up. Oh, God. What's going on? Raph is going to get impaled. He's going to get Githian walled. Tyrus, he's trying to do all he can, but Hundor's going to run him down. That's 2 now on the board for Hundor, with Dark Potato picking that one up. SK kind of faltering now.
Yeah, this is Adagio's early game, in case you guys forgot, since he hasn't really been played so much recently. It is very, very difficult to deal with, and G2 is abusing it right now. I mean, they are applying a lot of pressure. I honestly thought that Dark Potato was going to die to the burn. Very surprised. What is Raph doing here? Dark Potato, I can't believe he didn't jump on that. Wait, that was SK's flare. I think it was SK's flare. Okay, never mind. So, also, Hundor able to get 2 kills for his team there, right? This is now such an advantage early for G2 that if they snowball it, it should just be quite a solid game for them. The problem is that you've got to find the windows to keep snowballing it, and good vision and all those kinds of things can really mess with your plan. We'll see if SK adapts properly. Kvalifar is very hard to gank for Keanu. That roll great for getting out of the way of impales.
That damage, though, coming out of Dark Potato is very hard to get away from as well by SK. He has picked up the tension bow now. No real other power spikes across the board for SK. And Hundor rotating down now. You can imagine he just is going to pick up the alternating current straight up. There we go. Yeah, he's got it. Cool. So G2 now on a 2-item power spike each for their carries. And now it is Dark Potato's time really to shine on this Grumpjaw. We know what devastation it can cause, and we've seen Tyra's already on it. Can Dark Potato replicate that?
Honestly, I think G2 should just go fight around the Sentry. They can easily win fights around there right now. They've got sustain, they've got crazy damage. Keanu's got, nearly, I mean, if he wants, he can just go buy a Fountain on the way there. They are definitely in the position where they can force things. I mean, look at Kavalifar. He's not able to contest anything right now. He doesn't have the items.
No items, no damage. And guess what? G2 say no problem, because we've got all the damage we need. Dragonblood contracts, by the way, from Keanu. Just thought I'd point that out. He has finished the Fountain as well, so definitely wanting to go on that early aggression. Now Dark Potato hitting that level 6 mark is bad news for Kavalifar. If he can dodge an Impale, good luck dodging a Stuffed alongside that. Is just going to have a little trouble as well.
Kavalifar only, until level 6, has the one escape maneuver, and definitely they can be synced up from G2. In fact, Raph, unlikely to get away here.
I don't know, AJ. Look at, sorry, my thing lagged a little bit there, but we're in the fight still. Tyrus is just trunking out Hundor, but Hundor just healing way too much. Gideon Wall's actually going to find a kill, and Dark Potato will secure it. My goodness, that was the worst possible time for my device to be a little funny on me, but G2 nonetheless are going to pick up the 5th kill. It's only 6 minutes in, they got a 2k gold lead, and that turret is just going to be scrap metal at the end of this.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that's not where you want to be, Kavalifar. Dark Potato and Hundor chase him up, they secure the kill, and they secure the turret.
So, trying to fight there, trying to actually save the person who gets eaten, feels like a non-starter to me. It's just so risky. Kavalifar was relatively healthy throughout most of that fight. The problem is, it's a weapon Idris at like 6 minutes in the game. Doesn't really do much. Weapon Idris is really a later game hero. So, trying to sort of chase your loss, right? Like you talked about this in poker. Maybe you're having a couple of bad hands, but you're like, oh, I want to see the flop. Okay, so you invest in the pot, even though you don't have a great hand. That's the kind of situation that's happening here with SK, where they're saying, all right, someone got stuffed. We have literally no way of winning a fight, but I guess we'll try and save that guy, right? Like that is not going to win you a game. It's just going to let the advantage keep building for G2. Sometimes you just have to let go. You have to let that person die.
That's such a sad, sad situation when Grumpjaw has eaten one of your allies, and then you just have to watch them just get taken back to their turret and just decapitated by the Grumpjaw tusks. But they're going to start up that gold miner. G2 really want to go on the offensive, but SK don't want to give this one up without a fight. Infusion, actually, from Dark Potato. He wants to fight. He's ready to go. There's the Impale. Does land on one. Dark Potato's over the wall. Now look at Kavalifar's health bar. Gauntlet is going to get laid down here. SK, it's their one time to shine. That Fountain's only going to just save Raph. My goodness, Dark Potato in the 1v3 scenario didn't really mind all too much. And now SK on the run, and the gold miner will get secured by G2 unless SK can say anything about it. No, they cannot. Oh,
yeah,
Potato wants to go back in though. Oh, Raph's dead. Oh, see you later. Kavalifar jumps back in. Keanu in a lot of trouble. Kavalifar, can he find his next kill? I don't think so, because Hundor's chasing him up. Tyrus, though, with that Spitfire damage. Can he find the damage he needs? Keanu with the healing from Hundor. Tyrus, one more basic attack, mate. There we go. He finds it.
Got boots,
Gonna pop those boots as well. Goop goes on the floor. Hundor is slow. Tyrus igniting him. He's going to get the heal off, though, and he's going to survive as Tyrus takes too many turret shots.
That was not a good fight for G2. They overdid it a little bit there, thinking they could keep the ball rolling after their very strong early game. Sure, you've got a lot of damage, you got a lot of sustain, etc., but you can't just like let SK hit you for free and still think you're going to win a fight. Because Tyrus, he's got a lot of damage, even early on, even with just a Frostburn. Over the course of a long fight, if you get lots of ability activations off, Crystal Mages still do really well, and Kavalifar now, at this point, had the Sara Blade too, so doing a decent amount of work. He's got a Poison Shiv on top of that Sara Blade after that fight. I'd say that, SK are back more in the game than they were before, but G2 are still solidly in the lead. When you have such a deficit, a fight like that only, you know, climbs you a few feet out of the massive hole that you're in. Still, from a moral perspective, you know, you got to be feeling really good. Morale, rather. You got to be feeling really good after that.
Crystal Sentry.
Feeling good for G2 as they take a Sentry. And would you say the Poison Ship goes on top of the Sorrow Blade? That's one massive axe with a bit of a pointy stick on top of it. I've always looked at the Sorrow Blade icon and go, okay, so what exactly is it? Oh, G2, hang on a minute. G2 are going for an engage. I'll carry on that in a minute. Cavalifar's going to get jumped on. Dark Potato's going to jump in. Look at the damage! Oh, disgusting. Dark Potato and Hundor take him out, and now Tyrus and Raph just running in there using his boots to try and get the Vanguard off. Wasn't enough to save him. And now G2 walking down this lane with 10 minutes in already. In last game, it was 3k in the gold lead, is 3k in the pockets for G2, and they're making it 5 now. Every game they seem to be improving. That gauntlet is going to get denied as well. Keanu comes up big with the nice Scythian wall.
SK, I think they were feeling like maybe they should chase a little bit further here. I think that would be overextending. Cavalifar, yeah, he's full health, but G2 still have things like stuffed available to just make this a 2 versus 3. G2 are not necessarily focusing the things they need to focus when they have good fights, though. They went in there, they could have just probably taken the turret, but instead they tried to dive behind the turret, and it was not working.
Oh, whoa! Oh, hello, Damage. How's it going? Cavalifar and Tyrus gonna obliterate Hundor. That's what happens when you don't have Gift of Fire available. That was a nice little turnaround for SK.
SK are now starting to turn things around just by virtue of G2 not respecting what SK can bring to the table. G2, if they fight properly, are always going to win these, but they need to do exactly that. Also, if you knock Cavalifar towards Dark Potato, but you don't stun him, that's not a good play. Yeah, that's going to be bad news.
Had to pop the fountain because of that as well. Bad support, bad support. It was bad for Dark Potato, but it doesn't matter because he's still got those double monocles on the go. He's got one monocle now, half a monocle for later on, although he's got a little coin at the moment. Not quite sure how that makes him into a monocle, but hey, could be the lens, but I'm not sure how you'd actually see through a bit of metal, but I'm not the one to judge. Anyway, G2, now a 4k gold lead, yes, but the turret has gone down now. So again, this is what SK couldn't do last time, was open up the map early, and now they've done exactly that with G2's first tier turret falling here, which enables SK a little more breathing room, you could say.
The big thing for me is that Tyrus, you know, by virtue of going to the jungle, was already level 10 on the Scarf. That's going to be doing a lot of damage with these Spitfires. You get a lot more just from leveling them up, at least in the early to mid stage of the game, than you do from having gold necessarily. Can G2 find a good fight? They're looking for it.
Double impact.
Oh!
Gauntlet comes through. That's actually a double stun as well onto G2. That was really big of Raph to disengage that way. They're actually going to re-engage here. Those shreds have been popped. There comes the Dragon Breath. Dark Potato melts, and that will be G2 losing a member.
These fights are very uncoordinated from G2. I feel like they're crumbling a little bit right now, and I can't really put my finger on, you know, what exactly the problem is. I feel like Dark Potato and Keanu Nakoa are not syncing up in their engagements. Dark Potato went for his dash well after Impale landed. In an ideal world, you want to be saying, all right, I'm playing Keanu, right? You're saying to your teammates, all right, I'm going for an Impale, I'm going to land it, come with me, right? And then you go together. And if you miss it, so be it, you miss it, right? Like, that happens. But you should be going in with the expectation of success. If you don't do that, then you're setting your teammates up for failure because you're just staggering all of your initiation. You can't actually follow each other.
I mean, Raph has just been on point in that specific context, right? The following up. His Gauntlet there usage, maybe a little bit forced, but timed very, very well. Nice route actually does land onto Raph himself, and he will get the Immortal as well. But G2 struggling now to make an impact in these fights. Dark Potato can't really find the entrance that he wants. Getting flared out time and time again. He doesn't have that monocle. He's only got the singular one right now. No double for him. And now G2. I wouldn't say they're on the back foot at all, but these fights are just not going in their favor. And SK with this late game Scarf and this late game Idris are going to be such a pain to deal with.
Honestly, they kind of are on the back foot right now. It's based on the way that they're playing. Now with Infusions, you've got to realize that the items in their inventory aren't all power that SK has. They're going to be doing a lot of work in these next couple of fights.
Well, the next couple of fights might happen just now, or the singular one at least. The gauntlet comes down again. Undor's going to get stunned up, and that'll be Keanu falling already. Undor's just going to walk into, well, not walk into it. He found himself in the middle of it. Fountain's going to get popped for SK. They at least trade 1 for 1, but SK find the ace. They find 3 kills. They find a lot of gold, and now they're going to push on and maybe find a turret.
SK, I think we got to give him a lot of credit, because when you're down like you were in the early game this time around, it can be really hard to keep your cool. But they've done exactly that, and they're basically... There's so much pressure and onus on G2 to make plays when you're that ahead that it's quite easy to overextend, overreach, go for the wrong things because you have so many things you could go for. And SK is capitalizing on every single mistake perfectly. Like, they are really abusing the mistakes that G2 are making. Unfortunately for G2, they're making too many mistakes. You know, there's not much you can do other than tighten up and try and come back now in the mid game. But with 1,000 gold difference between the two teams, and Scarf and Idris versus Adagio and Grumpjaw, talking about heroes who spend gold better than other heroes. I mean, Scarf and Idris are 2 of the best for that. They took a course in investment banking, right? Like, these guys know how to make it happen in the late game.
Oh man, that sounds like a very boring course. No wonder you had to play a ton of Vainglory to make sure you're not bored during those classes. No seminars. Not too surprised whatsoever. Now G2, they have hit those small power spikes. They have got the Broken Myth. They have got that Shatter Glass, and now another infusion coming through for Dark Potato. Hasn't quite finished his double monocle build. Double gauntlet, that'd be something funny to see. Double gauntlet. I said it again. Double monocle build, AJ.
You're losing the plot here, Josh.
Yeah, I should probably just stop talking at some of these points. But I mean, at 10 minutes in, G2 were ahead 4K gold, 4,000 gold at 10 minutes, and now they're even at 16. SK have just come back what seemed to be a miraculous couple of team fights, and now G2 are really nervous and hesitant to start some of these fights because they're so scared of running into Tyras and Raph combo ultimate thing. It's just too hard for them to even do anything right now.
G2 needs to have the initiation from Keanu and Dark Potato, A, synced up, and B, land onto Tyrus. That's the only way G2 are going to win fights from now. But they can do that, especially now with Aegis on Dark Potato. They've got more durability.
Well, they want to find something. Gauntlet is going to come down, but Tyra's more than safe. Raph is going to pop those war treads, and now look at the back line here. It's just soloing out Hundor there. Kavalafar finds one. A stuff does land onto Raph, but it's not going to matter. Tyrus is now going to just run Keanu down with that Spitfire, with the Dragon's Breath, and SK once again find an ace onto G2. Absolutely huge comeback. The Kraken's going to go down as well, and that's the base wide open.
I haven't seen a synced engage from Dark Potato and Keanu since minute 5. I mean, they really aren't working together with the same goal in mind. In that fight, you saw Keanu go in, get on top of Tyrus and cause a ruckus. Dark Potato follows up by popping Aegis to run through the gauntlet. Then he's stuck in the middle of the gauntlet with no way of going onto Tyrus. He sort of sits there for a while, thinks about turning around. Then the gauntlet disappears. He commits to Tyrus. At this point, Hundor's dead, right? Because on the backline, Kavalafar is annihilating him. It's just, I mean, these fights are messy, man. They're not able to actually coordinate. And for Hundor to be effective, you need to have a front line that is coordinated and providing you defense. You can't have Kavalafar being able to get on Hundor for free. It needs to be at the expense of Tyrus dying. Otherwise, you're never going to win a fight as G2.
Well, we saw that exact scenario happen. Hundor was on the back just trying to get alternating current auto attacks off, and Kavalafar jumped on him. Keanu just repositioned, and it was all over for him. That will be the first turret going down, and there's the base being wide open. SK, they're looking for the victory, but G2 do not want to make it happen. Dark Potato is actually going to devour Raph. They actually end up taking out Kavalafar. It's going to be pretty big, but that gauntlet coming down is also pretty huge. Kraken is now on the Nexus. Tyrus is just going to melt them all where they stand. They need to deal with that Kraken, otherwise it's just going to take the base. Hundor almost falls. Hundor is actually going to go down here. In fact, Kavalafar and Raph are falling here, so it's just Tyrus versus Dark Potato. That Kraken still knocking on the doors. Can Tyrus do it? He's trying to light the goop, but it's not going to happen. He ends up doing it, and the Kraken takes the last hit, the ace for G2, but it doesn't matter because SK Gaming are going to win week 3.
Very strong play from SK towards the end there. G2 had real moments this week, but I feel like they still got some bumps to iron out when it comes to their synergy, because obviously Dark Potato took a break. They're going to need time to get back on their feet. I think this was, I mean, it was a fantastic run. They nearly won the whole week. So keep an eye out for them next week.